we'll be doing the mold ramming, sand ramming process right now. That's what's called the drag half of the mold. It's the bottom half. We've got our patterns initially set into it. You notice we've got the fan going in here. This is parting dust, parting compound. Probably already guessed its purpose. Now we've got our sand that we've already gone through by hand and riddled and fluffed. And we'll just push a little bit of it through the screen here so that we get some nice scattering of even sand over the face of the pattern. And then we want to just lightly hand pack down about where you think the pattern is. There we go. And I want to fill it a little ways above the top of the thing. Can't ram it too hard. Unless you think your pattern's going to break, in which case you better get another pattern. I'm going to take this specialized screeding tool here.
It's like it's specialized right off the corner of a bed.
Yes, exactly. It's got a handle, built-in handle and everything.
People wonder why we keep bed parts around the shop.
And voila. Now for the slightly tricky bit. This pattern is a split pattern, and so it can be rammed up directly onto the board, sitting flat as you can see. This one is not a split pattern, and so the trick with it is that we've got to find the middle of this thing, which I've conveniently drawn with a Sharpie on the side of it. And we've got to carve away. Air chucks are handy. And you're more or less striving for the halfway mark. On some patterns it's more critical than others. This is half round, so you know it's not so critical. It'll separate. Alright, now your cope's cut. We'll line our flasks up, which we have conveniently numbered for your realignment pleasure. 2 goes with 2. Boom. Click. And now we apply some more parting compound. Parting compound just allows the mold to separate. Now this riddle works pretty well with this sand. It seems like I've got a couple. This one's 1/8 inch galvanized screen wire put in the bottom of the bucket. Alright, it's not too deep of a pattern, so we'll lightly sand pack it all again, hand pack it all again. Alright. And as before, we'll proceed to fill the mold. You have to get your detail. You gotta pack that sand really tightly around the form that's in there. You know, so to get it to shove into all the cracks, you gotta put a lot of whammering on it. It's fun. Alright. Getting ready to separate the mold. And if all goes well, it should just barely resist my efforts. Oh yeah.
So what are you doing with that guy?
Well, I've pre-threaded my pattern so that I can then put this carriage bolt down in there, and just a little bit of tapping on the head of the carriage bolt will break the bond. usually this pattern just pulls really cleanly. Wow. Broke a little around the edges, but that's okay.
So you're gonna do some work to clean that guy up?
Yeah. Just gonna try to repair that brake a little bit. It's quite so easy. Basically, I'm taking my pointy thing here. Half patterns like that. So, there's that. Once again, we'll kind of ease those little corners. Alright. So, I'm going to think I want my sprue hole about right here. So, I want my metal to flow just right there. I forgot a couple of steps. We'll be okay. I left out a couple of tricks. I was moving too fast. It's best to leave marks in your sand before you pack the form. But anyway, I now have a channel cut from this point to this point to get the metal to here, and I've lined up the center of that with that.
So you've made a measurement where your current channels
to
are.
locate that right there.
And we've transposed that measurement over here.
Yeah, and now I'm just going to make another little channel here. So you have to have two holes open to the two holes open to the atmosphere, basically, to relieve the pressure.
So it has to have a direction to be able to force the air out.
Yeah.
As that molten metal comes down. So you're pressing that pipe right into the head of that channel that you just carved in, correct?
Yep. There we go.
So you're using a larger pipe to create the hole for you to pour into?
No, this is actually the reservoir. The pour will go into the slightly smaller hole, and then from there it'll flow into this. And this provides a reservoir of molten metal to feed the pattern as it cools and shrinks during the initial cooling stages. You can't just pour directly into your pattern. Yeah, I'm just going to round these corners a little bit. And now I'm just going to cut a little bit of a cut. A little funnel type deal. Alright.
Now we've cleaned up both sides.
Yeah, we got the two halves of our mold we're ready to assemble. Okay. And all we really want to kind of make sure and turn the mold over away from your pattern just in case any loose sand falls off. And then just be very slow about moving in. Make sure you're lined up. Don't put it together backwards. And it felt good.
Ta-da! So after that, we basically are ready to pour into that guy?
Yep.
All right.
That's it.
You'll see that a little bit later.